Welcome back to the MMA Explorers. Today, let's get started with Artem Lobov claims Conor was training only twice a week before Khabib fight. Artem Lobov has shared fresh insight into Conor McGregor's mindset leading up to his infamous 2018 bout with Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he believes it played a key role in the outcome. Speaking in a recent interview with Ariel Helwani, Lobov claimed that McGregor had abandoned the intense training regimen that originally made him a two-division UFC champion. According to Lobov, in the lead-up to UFC 229, McGregor was only training twice a week. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on this video to support the channel. Let's aim for 10 likes.
That's not the same Conor. This is not the guy that I know. I want to see the old one back, you know what I mean? And then I feel everything would be sweet between us as well, and we could get, the band back together. I would love to see him come back because I feel that if he was at 100%, we would be able to bring Khabib back as well. I think that Khabib would come back for that fight if Conor was 100% and fit and, making real, moves, making real fights. He would just need one fight, knock the guy out, and then the whole world will be, talking to Khabib and getting him to come back. I know that fight bothers Conor because he didn't train at all for that fight. Twice a week he was training for Khabib, and he was in the wrong mindset. He was in a party mindset. He was training twice a week. That's it. So when I saw the fight, I was like, oh my God, if only you trained 4 times a week, you probably would have beaten him. But imagine him with full camp, the Conor that fought Alvarez, Imagine that Conor fighting Khabib. That's what I want to see.
Khabib shuts down Ilia Topuria Conor McGregor comparison. Khabib Nurmagomedov isn't buying into the hype surrounding Ilia Topuria being the next Conor McGregor. In a recent interview with Adam Zubayrayev, the undefeated former UFC lightweight champ was asked whether a potential Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria title fight could mirror the intense rivalry he had with McGregor back in 2018. Khabib was quick to shut that idea down. I don't think Ilia Topuria can fit Conor McGregor's role in a rivalry. He's a good guy. He's trying to become someone. All this hype that's coming from him, I just don't see it. The interesting thing about Topuria versus Islam fight is the clash of styles. Maybe the belts, but nothing like me and Conor. And Islam is also a good guy. They are both top 5 fighters in the world at the moment, but I don't see that same level of anticipation anymore. Like something that goes beyond the sport. With both Islam and Ilia maintaining professional respect and lacking the personal animosity that fueled Khabib versus McGregor, it seems the Eagle believes this would be a fight, not a war. DC and Chael predict future UFC champs in 2026. In a recent episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy, Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen took a bold leap into the future, predicting which UFC fighters will still be holding championship gold by 2026. The two former fighters turned analysts went division by division, giving fans their hot takes and long-term title forecasts.
Actually, they could hold UFC gold in the next 16, 17 months.
Alex Pereira.
I was going to say that
on the
too.
list. And partner, I think it's going to be at heavyweight. Now, please don't forget, and perhaps I need to remind myself, when I first started pushing the narrative of Pereira and a title and heavyweight, I was pushing towards that interim belt. Heavyweight used to have twice the opportunity of everybody else, but I'm still going to throw Alex's name out there because whether I get it or not, I think I'm going to get real close. I think title opportunities are abundant for that young man. The winner. Okay, I'm going to hedge a little bit, but the winner, whoever comes out between Khamzat and Dricus, is likely going to be able to keep that belt for a little bit of time. I think that they're going to be able to stay with that some. And I'm going to give one to you, and you're going to wonder where it's coming from, but I believe Sean O'Malley gets his belt back.
Oh, really?
I don't know how much Merab, I don't know how long Merab can stay at 135 pounds. That definitely has an expiration date, just that weight class alone. I do believe that O'Malley is the star of that division, absent Merab. So I'm going to go with Pereira, the winner of our middleweight championship fight, and I'm going to go to Sugar Sean. Who do you got?
So the reason we're asking this is because Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz both believe that Tatsuro Taira, who had a massive victory last weekend, will be champ by the end of next year. But I don't know how you pick anybody over Pantoja right now. Pantoja is just fighting so well. I'll say Zhang Wei Li because she's going to get an opportunity to fight Valentina, and she would seem to have a good style for Valentina, especially the Valentina today, who's more cautious in terms of like wrestling. She doesn't strike as much as she used to. Wei Li can defend that. I'll say, let's go. I mean, obviously, Islam has an opportunity with Jack Della, right? Like, I'm not going to pick that, but Islam has an opportunity because technically right now, Islam Makhachev is not a champion. So essentially, he could either beat Jack, or if he loses, go back down and challenge in the division where he was already the champion. And last one for me is going to be Pereira. I think Pereira, he has multiple opportunities. He can be the champ at heavyweight, or he can be the champ at 205. Anybody that has two chances, you got to think they're right in the running, especially because Chael, no matter what he does, he's always close. Pereira's never far away from fighting for a UFC championship, regardless of the weight class that he's in. So I'm going Pereira, I'm going Islam, and I'm going to say Zhang Weili. The belt don't stray too far, Chael. That's why there haven't been many UFC champs in the history of the game.
Khabib urges fighters to retire with dignity. Khabib Nurmagomedov is once again dropping wisdom outside the cage, this time on the importance of knowing when to walk away. Speaking at a recent press conference, the former undefeated UFC lightweight champion reflected on the harsh realities of fighting beyond one's prime. According to Khabib, the sweet spot for retirement is around age 35, when most athletes begin to decline physically and mentally. Going past that, he warned, often results in unnecessary damage, knockouts, and a shift in priorities, from legacy to paychecks. Using Islam Makhachev as an example, Khabib said,
Islam maybe, my honest opinion, 1.5 to 2 years, because age is gonna be October 34. Nobody gonna be sent. When time comes, they don't ask what's your name. Of course, I finished when I was 32. I don't even begin. It was, I have this situation in my life, that's why. But when you become 35, you need to stop doing this, because leave this sport for young guys. Because when you become 35 and you don't finish, somebody gonna finish you. Why? It's better to finish. Why? After 35, you're never gonna be same. Like people can talk whatever they want. When you pass your prime, you're gonna fight only for money. Like Allah give you 7 years, for example. You finish 40. And last 5 years, you was fight only for money, but they knock you out 10 times. For what? Go and work Uber driver. It's much better to be sleep inside the cage.
Jon Anik is not happy with Sean O'Malley. UFC commentator Jon Anik has voiced his disapproval of Sean O'Malley's recent call-out of Corey Sandhagen for a short-notice title defense. On a recent episode of his podcast, Anik made it clear he respects O'Malley's skills and drawing power, but didn't hold back when it came to this particular move.
I love Sean O'Malley, right? But when I read that he called the UFC and asked for Corey Sandhagen on short notice in New Orleans when they needed a co-main event, it left a bad taste in me, right? Because in a championship world, right? How does a fight between the former champion O'Malley, who just came off the loss to Merab, and the #1 contender Sandhagen make any sense right now? You know, I understand sometimes stars are thrusted into big spots, Ray, because the UFC needs spots. But
yeah.
if O'Malley and Sandhagen are ever going to fight, let's not do it hastily on 3 weeks' notice, right? Because Sean's trying to sort of, you know, get a bad taste out of his mouth. Like, thankfully, like, you know, there was no sort of motion to do that. I mean, Sandhagen would only laugh if that call came in. But, you know, like, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because that just left a bad taste in my mouth. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing with that? You know?
Yeah, well, you get to see a guy's true colors when things aren't going as planned, and I think that's part of what you're seeing.
You know what, like Kenny, like that Aljamain Sterling Sean O'Malley fight and the timeline that happened is always going to leave a weird sort of taste in mouths of a lot of people. And this is just like, what? Like, you can try to fight Corey on, like, he's fighting for the title. Like, what are we doing? What
yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, who knows how realistic it was in Sean O'Malley's mind when he proposed that. But I think he knew that Sandhagen at a certain point wanted to fight him, and he was just kind of throwing something at the wall to see if it stuck. But obviously does not make sense for Sandhagen at this point. It definitely doesn't make sense for Corey. Corey was asking for this fight a little while ago. Sean O'Malley didn't want to have it. Now O'Malley wants to have it on his terms. Well, it doesn't always work that way.
Chael Sonnen, confident about UFC, is booking Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan next. In a passionate interview with MMA Junkie, Sonnen made a bold claim. The UFC is definitely working on a lightweight title fight between Ilia Topuria and Arman Tsarukyan. despite Topuria publicly saying he'd rather vacate his belt than fight the surging Armenian contender. Before we continue, help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers here on MMA Explorers. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily MMA content.
Ilia's first move for doing a fight is to deny the fight. The only person that he's ever openly said, I'll fight, is Paddy. Everybody else that he's getting ready to fight, he denies. It's just his approach. Anderson had one. Anderson would always deny the fight. He'd let that run for about 2 weeks. He would then accept the fight. He would let that run for about a month. He would then slip an injury report to the media. Where you think the fight is off, it's not going to happen. He'd get his run out of that, and then he'd come out and tell everybody, I'm fine and it's on. I'm only sharing. That was his system. 100% of his fights, he built the same way. Ilia's not any different, whether he knows it about himself or not. But Ilia's first move when he's going to fight a guy, aside from Paddy, is to say, I'm not fighting the guy.
Let's wrap it up for the day. Thanks for watching.